Hey, plant-based runners. Welcome back to another plant-based tip Tuesday running tips Tuesday with myself, Coach Kayla, and to episode 51 of the Plant-Based Performance podcast on how to deal with disappointment after a race. So maybe you just ran Boston, or maybe you were trying to qualify for Boston, or maybe you just ran a marathon and it did not go well as planned, and you're feeling crushed, you're feeling disappointed. If that is you, this video today is for you. So I hope you guys learn a lot from this video today and can really start taking some of these tips that I share with you and using them for yourself so you don't feel as disappointed, or maybe you prevent some of that post race blues and that sort of thing after your race. Obviously, I have a sticky note here. It is not staying. It's not staying up here, so I apologize. So I keep reaching over here for. If you're just joining me, if you are new here, make sure to say hi. Tell me where you're from. Let me know your name as well. It doesn't always come up on my screen when you do comment, so make sure to leave your name as also where you're from, or click the link above me, and that should take you to a link to allow StreamYard, since I'm using StreamYard to go live on Facebook and YouTube to show your name up. So please do that if you could. If you're watching this on replay as well, just let me know you're watching this on replay. So, dealing with disappointment after a race. So, number one is to accept it. Unfortunately, it has happened and there's nothing else you can do about it. It's over, it's done with, the past has happened. Unfortunately, we can't go back in time and change what has been done. So we do have to accept it. We do have to take full responsibility for it as well. We cannot blame anybody else. We cannot blame the weather. We cannot blame the race director. We cannot blame anybody else but ourselves if we've had a disappointing performance or not the performance we thought we were going to have. So that is number one. Make sure to accept it. Number two is to rest, review, and reflect. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, make sure to take that time after your marathon to rest. Take days off of running, do some easy things, maybe some yoga, running. Keep it very, very light, very, very easy. You should have 1 to 2 weeks of rest after a marathon, ideally for mentally, also to give yourself a break, but also physically to let your body recuperate and recover from what it just did. You put your body into a lot of stress when you run a full marathon. You're running 26.2 miles, and my guess is you don't run that much every single day, so you do want to make sure to give your body that recovery. And it's also good not to jump in to the next thing or a race too soon, because that can lead to increased, angst and anxiety and disappointment, and even injury. And that is not what we want. We don't want to spiral down into a bad path. So we want to keep ourselves on a good path as much as we can. So give yourself that rest. As I said, rest. Also, next is review. Review the race. This is something I've always done with my coach, which has been really helpful, is to review the race. And I always write him a review of how the race went and all the details of how my fueling, my hydration went, how I was feeling at certain miles. All of that stuff I include in my notes so he knows what was going on during the race. And then we can unpack it. We can talk about, okay, what went wrong? What are things that we need to focus more on? Is it focusing more on endurance or speed? Or is it focusing on the mindset, the mind, and the mental challenges that come with that? So there's all these little things, right, that we can really help us for our next time. And to do that is, to review it. And sometimes it can be hard to do this on your own, which is why this is really helpful to have somebody, and have a coach to be able to help you review your race with you. And then three is to reflect. Reflect on what went well, what didn't go well, and what could you do better next time. So really take that time if you're ready. Of course, if you are really feeling very disappointed and really, really down in the dumps kind of thing, then you might not be ready for this yet. You might not be there yet, and that's okay. Take your time until you feel like you're ready in order to really reflect on the race. Number three is to talk with a friend or a coach. Sometimes just talking to someone about your feelings is really helpful. And this, to me, is anything in life. And I do this as well. I use my mom a lot for. She's kind of, kind of almost like my therapist. But I talk to her a lot because I trust her and she doesn't judge me. It's someone that I can just feel like I can talk to and get my feelings out and emotions. And sometimes that is just really, really helpful. And that's why a coach is also really helpful as well, to have somebody to talk to about the race and how it went and how it didn't go so well. And number four is to find a new motivation. Maybe maybe it's just going back to the motivation that you had before, or like kind of digging deep and remembering what that true why is. Or you might have to find a new motivation. Maybe what was motivating you before feels like it's not going to keep motivating you moving forward to get to the goal that you're trying to get to. So, what is that motivation? What's that new motivation? Maybe you need to find something else. And usually, that motivation, remember, is just what gets you started. It's not what keeps you going, it's just what gets you started. So, if you're feeling like if you take time off and you're going to struggle to get back to it, think about what is a new motivation that you can find to keep you going towards the path that you want to go. Number five, create a new action plan and get what you need. Figure out, hopefully, in this review and reflection, you figured out what you're missing, what went wrong, what you can do better. And then you can take action, make a new plan, and figure out who are the people you need to have on your team, or who are the people that you need. Do you need to find a running coach that's a good fit for you? Do you need to find a sports dietitian that can help you with fueling? Who is it that can help you, or what is it that you need to do more of in order to succeed, in order to get to that goal? Because you shouldn't give up. Even if a race didn't go well, sometimes that's the way it goes with, especially with marathon running, is you never know what's going to happen on that day. And sometimes our GI systems or our gut just has a mind of its own, and there's nothing we really could have done better. So certain cases are out of our control. Sometimes weather is out of our control. So sometimes we may not have the best race or the race we think we're going to have based on the weather. And you shouldn't beat yourself up because of that. Your time is going to be different. What's most important is that you focus on the progress, you focus on what you have accomplished. And maybe this is even part of your viewing and reflecting, is looking back at what you have accomplished, the progress you have made. That is more important than really getting to that desired goal. Because remember, it's always important to focus on the journey, focus on the progress, focus on just showing up every day and doing your best. That's all you can ask of yourself. You wouldn't ask anybody else to do otherwise, right? So talk to yourself just like you would anybody else. Trying to see if there's anything else with that I want to talk about. And then also, don't place expectation on yourself too much, because when we place expectation on ourselves, which is something I have realized that I do very often in my running career, as well as my my business career as well, is I place so much expectation on it and too much attention on it, that to the desired outcome, that I can get really, really disappointed, and almost feels like I go into some sort of depression. And it's awful. Like, it's terrible. And it's not a place you want to be. So to prevent that, are kind of like things I've just talked about, is focusing on that journey, focusing on that progress. And that is most important. And if you are struggling to do that and struggling to focus on that journey instead of just the desired outcome, maybe you do need to reach out to a coach. Maybe you do need to work with somebody in order to help you put yourself into a better mindset when it comes to running. Because if you love to run, I don't want you to quit. And there are certain cases that sometimes it may feel like we do. If we can't eat enough, if we can't get through these mindset challenges, then running may not be for us. But I don't believe that. I don't believe if that's the case, and if you're not open to change or open to growing or open to becoming a better runner, then of course don't quit. And hopefully you don't. Hopefully you are here and hopefully you are listening to this message right now because you love to run. It is your passion. It is a part of you, is a part of your life. And I don't want you to quit on your goals either. I just want you to not feel that disappointment because I know what it's like. I've been there and it absolutely sucks. And you're not the best person. And you may likely have realized through your running career, if you've been running for a while, that you feel like you become a better person every single day because you run. Now, you don't want to be a worse person because you're so disappointed that you can't show up or be there for your family. So, we want to be able to deal with these sort of things and manage these sort of things. And so we can keep continuing to grow as a person. So we continue to grow as a runner and continue to show up and be the best version of ourselves. So, with that, does anyone have any questions at all on this topic about dealing with that disappointment or maybe even those post race blues? All right. Great. Well, hopefully I did my job. Thank you guys so much for being here and watching this. Hopefully you guys enjoy this on the podcast as well. And if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I would love to hear from you. Make sure as well, if you do check out the podcast, go over to Apple iTunes and make sure to rate and review. And so more people can find us. So thank you guys so much again, and we will see you next week. Bye.